your fighter.
Lightning inspired. Fight.
What's up, y'all? It's Player Talk Radio. It's DJ Kuda right back at the helm of today's show. Got a great show for you guys tonight. I'm here in the background working on some things in my studio. About to pull up this article that I want to share with you guys. That is from, let's see, his name is Aaron G. Fontaine. Or Fountain Jr. Aaron G. Fountain Jr. or whatever. Fountain. You know, I try to kind of be a little bit fucking bourgeois and say Fontaine, you know. But his name is probably Aaron G. Fountain. I don't know. It's a quick little 8-minute read. We're gonna pull it up. It's Player Talk Radio. It's DJ Kuda. I'm right back at the helm of today's show. But what we're going to do before we pull up this article, we're going to get into the mix. You know how I like to do it. It's Player Talk Radio. And then we're going to get into tonight's show. So without further ado, let's start tonight's show, man. Let's get it. It's Player Talk Radio. Shout out to the after the party. You know how we like to do it. Let's get it.
Yeah, her daddy didn't like me too much because I used to yell "Dom game" and run.
Let's go. Wrist work. Let's get it. Let's go.
Yeah, her daddy didn't like me too much because I used to yell "Dom game" and run.
Working on that wrist. I've been working on that wrist. I've been working on that wrist. I've been working on it, working it. I've been working on it, I've been working on it, I've been working on it. Want me get the pack, then I rolled it up. I've been smoking dope and the code is strong. I got all the Vicar and we popping on. I'ma need some more before we fucking done. We gon' need some more, we expecting it. Bring around my way, I'll be checking up. Probably up next week, checking it.
Bro, thank you, girl. Sprinkle.
We expecting it. I'ma need some more than we reckon it. I'ma need some more before my record.
Damn, Kuda.
I know that I'm up next, check my place. I'm all up in here out of state. I'm out of state. Florida to Ohio, baby. I'm moving out the way like a steady pace. I like steady pace. So you know I gotta work. Let the wrist do the work. Like, yeah. Working on that wrist. I've been working on that wrist. I've been working on that wrist. I've been working on that wrist. Working wrist. I've been working on that wrist. I've been working on that wrist. I've been working on that wrist.
See, the things affect me as a male and you as James Chambers as a male in America, you know, being a black man.
Girl, thank you, girl. Sprinkle. Girl, thank you, girl. Sprinkle.
I just want it all. I just wanna pop it, then I fall. Got a lot of oxy in the zone. I've been cooking up in the oh, I'm gonna do it if she asks for. If she don't, I'm Cosby, then I'm back. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Make a move. You can do it. Got a bad one who gon' lie. I just wanna hit it with the light. Yeah, baby, let me get you right. Got some options and I got some light. You can do it. Make a move. I don't really care. Got a bad one in the
Now you know you gotta break the game down a little bit more because they might be slow.
You can do it. Make a move. You can do it.
All right, we in the building, man. It's Player Talk Radio. Okay, let's bring up this article, okay? So, oh shit. My bad, y'all. All right, look. Let's screen share. Let's see how we can do this. Booyaka. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hold on, y'all. Uploading some videos. All right, let's check out this article, y'all. All right. So, Mr. Aaron G. Fontaine Jr. Says the Black Manosphere is not an ally to Black women. My nigga is called the Manosphere. Manosphere. Okay. Common sense, and this was written on March the 2nd. You think I'm bullshitting? Common sense would tell you that is not an ally to Black women. Manosphere. Okay. In chat rooms and YouTube channels, Black men parrot conservative talking points and bunk social science to demonize Black women. Oh, this is a maggle. Oh, this is a maggle. Now, I don't know this guy. I don't know because I don't read, Maggle's Digest or anything like that. But these guys, they write these articles, on the behalf of Black women to kind of get them riled up. Black women still read blogs and stuff on social sites, especially when it's pertaining to them. So let's look at what he says. Okay, your host is a bit illiterate, so bear with me. White stuff. That's how Skylar describes his interests by the time he got to college. As a preteen, he had moved with his family from the entirely Black neighborhood he'd grown up into a predominantly white suburb. The next few years were an exercise in cultural assimilation. In college, he even enjoyed a majority of white fraternity. But after 2016, hold on, y'all. Got some shit going on in the background. Oh, damn. Oh, did Angry Man do something? Angry Man did go live today. Damn, this nigga done brought up Angry Man's name. Hold on, let's see if Angry Man is live. Y'all know I still, he is not live, but I'm pretty sure he did something on it, or he might do something on it tomorrow. It said, but after the president, I just saw his name is a pop word. But after 2016, the presidential election fueled racial tensions on campus. Skylar began distancing himself from his frat brothers and seeking out the culture he had drifted from. Eventually, music and reading led him to YouTube, where he came across Red Pill Table Talk. Shout outs to Angry Man. Ran by the creator, calling himself Angry Man. Through Angry Man, Skylar descended into a YouTube rabbit hole he never even knew existed. All right, number one, let me tell you something, because and I don't mean to use him I don't mean to use him as a let me bring myself up real quick. I don't mean to use him as an example, but what I want you guys to realize is that there's a guy that you've seen that has came into my shows a couple of times, and you will see him around the Manosphere, and his name is Hammer. Okay, his name is Hammer, and he's a young brother. He's on campus. He's out here in DC. He comes on to the shows sometimes, and he asks a lot of questions. And he also, he does his own thing. Like, he knows what's going on in the Manosphere, and he's very privy to some of the conversations and some of the things that we're talking about. Now, Hammer, he's still a virgin. He hasn't gotten his little cat dick.
Ever.
Just because you can't get your little cat dick wet.
He hasn't, you know what I'm saying? He hasn't done certain things. So, um, but he's ingested a lot of Manosphere content, right? So the thing is that, if like news stations or bloggers or some girl on his campus was to get a hold of him, and they're like, oh, so what's this group that you belong to called the Manosphere? Some broad that don't really give a fuck about the Manosphere. She herself, she young as fuck. She don't know what's going on, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna get the full gist of what's going on. All right. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now where this dude fucked up is he mentioned the Angry Man. You do not want the Angry Man on none of your channels, on none of that, because that nigga gonna represent like a motherfucker. All right. Nigga, Angry Man gonna tear all of your shit down, and he gonna bring the real talking points. He will you put Angry Man on a talk show or some shit like that, Valdez gonna bring the heat. All right. Now, contrary to belief, some of y'all may not. Some of y'all may think I don't like the Angry Man, or I'm not cool with the Angry Man. I'm cool with the Angry Man. I'm just not gonna be motherfucking bullied on this shit. You dig what I'm saying? That's nigga. What we not about to do is that. You understand what I'm saying? Especially, and I still, and to this day, I still practice a level of respect and for the masculine mercenaries and all them people, because I was affiliated with them people. But if you want some bullshit, you want some bullshit. And maybe this is growing pains, man. Maybe I'm getting into a space where my channel is getting big, and like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. So y'all help me out. You know what I'm saying? I've been in this space, but y'all are the audience. Y'all help me out. If you understand where I'm coming from, you can leave it in the comment section, or you can do whatever. But you know what I'm saying? I stand on my square. I do what I do. You know what I'm saying? And it gets done. But what I'm saying is that Angry Man ain't the one. All right. First of all, mentioning him in your little blog, you done fucked up, because now you're gonna draw a whole bunch of other niggas to the Manosphere, and that's good. But what I'm saying is that when they run across somebody, and I'm not saying Hammer, but I'm just saying guys that get into this rhetoric at a young age, what they try to do is they try to demonize these guys. They try to incel these guys, bro. Like, for real, like these younger dudes that are getting into the game, they try to incel these motherfuckers, because the thing is that for some reason, for black men, they have this thing that, oh, well, you're young and you're a black man, you're young and impressionable. But for some reason, with women, that stigma ain't there. So how is it that a black guy that's young, that's in college or that's in school or whatever, he's all of a sudden young and impressionable, but this girl that's on Instagram seeing these hoes wear Fashion Nova and snapping checks and shit like that, all of a sudden they're not young and impressionable also? They're not subject to the whole culture and hookup behavior and stuff like this. So this guy's looking up Angry Man, and he's taking a second look at what's going on in his life and trying to get some game and try to apply, knowledge to his situation. Now all of a sudden he's diving into something that he shouldn't dive into. Whereas you got broads out here on Instagram twerking, wearing so much revealing clothing, got a whole bunch of dudes in her inbox and doing all kinds of shit, and it's gonna flow into the culture that we're talking about, which is perpetuated by a series of prostitutes and all kinds of things. She's not young and impressionable, but all of a sudden, a young boy ingesting Angry Man's content. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. You see, the Maggle is unreasonable. The Maggle, just like the female counterpart, has a rejection of truth, and that's where the disconnect is. Like I told you on the last show where we were talking about black love, women sit up here and try to learn tips or something about the dating game. She already shooting herself in the foot. That's why sometimes as a man, you go out here, you got to find an unsuspecting women that don't know nothing about this shit. Don't watch She-Ra 7. Don't watch Crystal and Karazin or a Paris Milan or somebody like that and using all these pop words and shit. Words don't mean shit to women. Emotions do. Now, words can evoke emotions, but to women, words are subjective. She'll say fuck that nigga and love that nigga. Fuck that nigga means love that nigga. You understand what I'm saying? It's weird. Anyway, I'm just laying context to the rest of this article. All right, now watch this. I already know where this is coming from. Just off the beginning. All right, I know how to write. I know how to do. This ain't my first rodeo, basically, nigga. Men he watched discussed a variety of topics, but seemed preoccupied with women. Some showed their faces, others remained anonymous. Few used their real names. At first, he thought they were harmless, but things changed, and changed quickly. Prompted by his interest in dating white women, Schuyler visited a now defunct site devoted to the topic and was deeply discomfited by what he'd found. It was filled with so many stereotypical images of black women, you'd think they were watching a minstrel show, he says. Boy. His disenchantment began to snowball. One YouTuber he followed blocked him on a Discord chat room because he couldn't recite the pillars of Save Yourself Black Men, SYSBM. So now what they're going to do, fellas, is take this one guy's experience and broad stroke it. You see that? This is my first time reading this article, by the way, but I already knew it was up to some bullshit. Nigga, ain't nobody blocking you because you. What are the tenants, bro? Name them by number. Like, ain't nobody doing no shit like that. He probably was on some bullshit. SYSBM, an online culture that demonizes black women and urges black men to find interracial relationships. Really? The whole thing, Schuyler realized, felt a lot like a cult. Pop words. Welcoming until you challenge the teachings. At what point the whole system, self-styled gurus, forums, moderators, and even other followers turned on you. Now, I'm not gonna lie now, y'all. He did mention Angry Man and he did mention SYSBM. So I don't know if this is the masculine mercenaries, because um no shade or nothing like that. You know, they actually paint themselves as the bullies of the Manosphere. So that I don't know, because I'm not gonna lie, them niggas will turn on you. But you just gotta learn how to float in this shit. I wonder who Skylar is. He probably been in my chat room. Skylar is just one of many young black men, thousands, he claimed, in a loosely affiliated anti-feminist online community called the Black Manosphere. Like Skylar, many of its adherents are drawn into it, thinking its gender war debates are harmless, even entertaining. Many of its supporters refer to it as a digital barbershop. I first happened upon the community inadvertently, much as Skylar had, yet over the course of nearly 20 months exploring its darkest recesses. I found much more than just good-natured banter. Okay, so he's in the Manosphere also. Now let's go back. They refer to it as a digital barbershop. That's debatable, but that is a bit true. Okay. Um Gender war debates. You see, I told you guys, if women are going to be in these spaces, they need to have a job, because we need to have a group of women that can stand up and say, yo, these niggas ain't like that. But y'all don't hear me though. All right, let's finish this. Like so many online communities, the Black Manosphere is rife with internal divisions and disputes, each more ridiculous than the last. What unites it is what unites it is its founding principles on anti-feminism. Most of these are cribbed from the larger manosphere, an umbrella term for a collection of subreddits and men's rights forums, claiming that women and feminist leaning in a feminist leaning society have robbed men of their power, and then tailored to black men specifically. Black women lack femininity, says Black Manosphere Dogma, and they refuse to be submissive. They are the ones responsible for the black family dysfunction. As with the manosphere at large, the black manosphere traffics in jargon that makes them sound like Matrix superfans whose experience with actual women doesn't extend beyond fantasy red pill. All right, let me do that again. My bad, y'all. I'm retarded. As with the manosphere at large, the black manosphere traffics in jargon that makes them sound like Matrix superfans whose experience with actual women doesn't extend beyond fantasy. Red pill ideology casts followers as visionaries who dare to see through the illusion. They divide in other men into alpha and beta categories. Women do that. Categories that denote their power and status. Beta bucks, for example, is a term used for weak men whose only value to women is as sugar daddies. Sexually empowered women are denigrated as riding the cock carousel until they hit the wall in their mid 20s and their sexual market values drops, and the 80 to 20 rule dictates that women find only 1 out of every 5 men attractive enough to have sex without added incentives like money, at which their hypergamy or drive to marry up in a class kicks in. Let me do that again. At which their hypergamy or drive to marry up a class kicks in. Okay, I'm kind of just, skimming through this, y'all. He says, as the with the manosphere at large, black manosphere traffics in jargon, which makes them seem like the Matrix and super. All right, this is like a pre-context for what he's about to talk about now. He said, unlike the larger ostensibly ostensibly white manosphere, the black manosphere isn't a pathway into the alt-right. It reserves its ire solely for its own community, black women and men who violate its expectations. Black women in particular are its targets, with men referring to them as straggle daggles or scraggle daggles, demons, and we don't refer to them as demons. Number one. And the most filthy and disease-ridden women on the planet. It's a codified system of misogyny towards black women in particular, that gives stark form and attitude black women have been noticing and discussing for well over a decade. Before the black manosphere, there was the men's right movement, and lo, it was bad. It was also predominantly white, or at least non-black. A Philadelphia-based man who calls himself Obsidian. A Philadelphia-based man who calls himself Muhammad Obsidian Ali sought to change that. After coming across men's rights activists online in the mid 2010s, he began to contribute pieces to blogs like A Voice for Men and Return of Kings, and eventually launched a radio show where he holds forth on his favorite topic, black women. The seeds of his own anti-feminism were sown in childhood. He suggested in one article, when he saw his grandmother and mother being verbally abusive towards his grandfather and father respectively, black women in America as a group suck. He tells me in an email exchange. So this guy is known. He's in the manosphere, y'all. And look, don't trip. Don't trip. Don't trip. Because this nigga's doing advertisement for the manosphere. Okay? We can debunk all of this shit, because when these motherfuckers start coming in, we know exactly what they're going to say and how they're going to use it. Give me 1 second. Let me check on something. Okay. I'm back. And that's why I said we need to have women here to actually break. Women here will actually break a couple of more dudes into the manosphere. We need to give them a job. So he says, as for the black manosphere proliferated, so did a bulge of content. Men, mostly from North America and Western Europe, write ceaseless articles referencing other articles, and uploaded videos as long as 12 hours blaming black women. And that's disingenuous. 12 hours, come on now. Blaming black women for every societal ill plaguing black communities in Western societies. Literally everyone. Crime rates, single motherhood, STD rates, killing sprees, lagging school performance, out of wedlock births, abortion, incarceration rates, to bypass YouTube's content moderation policies. Some make their videos age restricted. Others post their content on BitChute or Free Speech Avenger. Oh, this nigga giving up all the tea. Both of which both in which can feature profane or even pornographic content, as well as their own websites, blogs, podcasts, private Facebook pages, and Telegram chat groups. Some self-published books revenue builds through donations during live streams, one-on-one consultation fees, book sales, merchandise, and Patreon subscriptions. A nearly 2-hour video can generate more than $200 in donations. It would be disingenuous to insinuate that all the content in the Black Manosphere is toxic or even misogynistic. There are valuable discussions about confidence, goal setting, finances, traveling, entrepreneurship, and physical fitness. Unfortunately, even many of those videos steer off topic or divulge into shouting matches. Okay? Now, the disingenuous part of this article is to mention that in the beginning and have it be the smallest sector of this article. Okay? So he starts off with all the bullshit first, knowing people don't read in today's society, and they're not going to they're just going to take that first part as truth and run with it and kind of downgrade that that middle part about the traveling and shit like that. You're not going to talk about the Black Brain Trust and all those other guys that are teaching people about tech and AWS and shit like that. So anyway, in her book, and you notice he ain't gonna write no shit about She-Ra 7. In her book, Not All Dead White Men, classics scholar Donna Zuckerberg argues that the manosphere adjacent seduction community is less about actually picking up women and more about establishing authority and social capital among a group of male peers. This observation transfers neatly to the Black manosphere, where in frightening is omnipresent. While its creators to a one purport to all right. While its creators to a one purport to uplift the Black man, their true aspirations are clear: selling a personality, building a subscriber base, and accumulating income. Okay. I'm illiterate. Because most YouTubers receive relatively few views and none directly or indirectly linked to this group has committed an act of violence. It's tempting to dismiss the Black manosphere as offensive but harmless. But online misogynoir has turned into IRL homicide. In 2009, a young Detroit woman named Asia McGowan was murdered by a man who had created his own videos. Stock McGowan. I said McGowan. Hold on. This nigga wrote McGowan. Asia McGowan. And okay, so now I know I'm not tripping. Look, this nigga wrote Asia McGowan. McGowan. Right? And in videos, Stock McGowan. Nigga. On social media, and enough Black Manosphere videos have received 6 and 7 digit views counts that YouTube's recommendation algorithm can push them into those watching related videos. Okay. The beginning of this said YouTubers receive few views. Okay, we're not talking about topics that are actually you know politically correct. So, of course, they're going to receive few views. Pseudo intellectualism runs rampant. Content creators have alleged that black on black crime is driven by women procreating with presumed unreliable men. One YouTuber, oh shit, shout outs to the Zan man. Hold up.
And she told everybody that she had a miscarriage.
Shout outs to the Zan man. Nigga pointing out some real shit. One YouTuber that goes by the name Xanatos Clutch has asserted in a private video that black men mainly committed crime to impress a hood rat bitch, which is true, and that crime is lower in cities with low segregation index because black men have more opportunities to genuinely interact with non-black women. No criminological theory supports these claims. Other pseudo historical narratives espoused by the Black Manosphere portray Black women as adversaries, accusing them of thwarting slave rebellions, causing the downfall of the Black Panther Party, and even fomenting both World War I and II. Amateur interpretation of academic scholarship occurs as well. University of Wisconsin Women's Studies Professor Pernell Ipston books Daughters of the Trade gained a cult-like following within the Black manosphere because her research covered 5 generations of interracial marriages along the Gold Coast of Africa. Members cite the book to argue that Black women willingly conspired and had sex with white men during the slave trade to the detriment of Black men. Reached via email, Epstein called the argument ridiculous. The group spends much of its attention on Black women, but Black men who don't fit its definition of manhood, often referred to as maggles, often like yourself, often find themselves in the crossfire as well. Creators who disagree hurl homophobic slurs at one another. Creators who disagree hurl homophobic slurs at one another and mock physical appearance and accuse their critics of lacking an active sex life or having an unattractive partner. Some reveal YouTubers' real identities and expose their criminal pasts or family dysfunction. Brotherhood is fragile. Shout out to Sean James. Sean James, hit me up, bro. I'm supposed to be doing an audio book for you. I know this don't sound right, but when I actually do the audio book, I will actually sit down and actually go through word for word. I'm just kind of skimming through this article, so don't think this is how your book is gonna be read. Anyway, Sean James, a YouTuber who once counted himself among the community, experienced this fragility firsthand. As some YouTubers discuss traveling abroad to meet women, James uploaded and now deleted a video warning men about some of the risks they might encounter. Content creators accused him of discouraging Black men from traveling overseas. Then, similarly, summarily defriended him on Facebook, mocked his looks and singleness, cropped his face onto memes, stalked his Twitter page, and ridiculed his jobless and sex life. His joblessness and sex life. The blowback went on for 3 months. The event disappointed James, who had originally hoped the Black Manosphere would be a place where older Black men would mentor the younger generation about networking, employment opportunities, and building a stronger community. Egos and infringing. Ooh, I'm burping and shit. My bad, y'all. Egos and infringing doomed those prospects. He tells me. Most of the men who were a part of it were also obsessed with Black women and sex. They've lost their focus on working towards achieving anything serious or tangible, he claims. Black men deserve, even need the space to talk about their issues. But the Black manosphere is a perversion of that space, selling retrograde patriarchal ideas under the promise of community around Black. Hold on, y'all. Under the community around Black masculinity. Content creators hide their identities, create their alter egos, bathe in victimhood, and allege that any critiques of their pernicious philosophies are an attack on Black men. I know that people can get frustrated with the opposite sex sometimes, Skylar says. But all of their content began but all their content began divulging into a complete cesspool of negativity of negativity. In retrospect, he tells me, there are no different from the white manosphere. Oh, really? You know about the white manosphere? Yeah, see, you see? They have conservative views. They are misogynistic, homophobic, transphobic, and racist, even against themselves. He now describes the group as ridiculous, which might just be the best outcome oh, okay, this is the end, which might be the best outcome in an internet rabbit hole could lead to. So yeah. And Aaron G. Fontaine Jr., I've never seen this nigga a day in my life. My bad, y'all. I'm getting tired again. So yeah, this is the article. I don't see any comments. Let's see. Let's look at the responses. Oh, women are gonna. Oh, let's see what this lady says. Lakeitha Tolbert. She's been a member since 2018. She says, I had long suspected there was a kind of black manosphere. I'd seen glimpses of it here and there on YouTube. Always thought of such men as what the black community calls hoteps. I can't even bring myself to be angry about them or the things they say because I've heard it all before. Heard it all before. Uh, it's all sad and ridiculous because they're doing and spouting the same white supremacist nonsense that have always been used against black women. And even more ridiculous, they are emulating all of the worst traits of the groups of people who hate them and trot out to the worst stereotypes about black men to further their own causes. This is the worst kind of toxicity all the way down. Oh shit. Here comes damn. Here comes Obsidian. Fuck. This nigga done wrote his own article. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, because Obsidian, he shared it on O'Shea. So I'm gonna read Obsidian's and let's see, maybe read some more of what they said. Shout outs to my boy Obsidian. Good morning, everyone. My name is Obsidian. My name is Miuma Obsidian. Boy, tongue twister. Good morning, everyone. My name is Miuma Obsidian Ali, and I am the black man that Mr. Fontaine mentions in the article above. I should note, for the record, that Mr. Fontaine and I have had rather interesting and extended email exchange where I have repeatedly invited him to be my special guest on my daily radio talk show, Obsidian Radio, which can be heard on Mixler. In fact, I am due to go live in over 20 minutes from now. I found Mr. Fontaine's motivations to be less than professional or professional. He seems uh he seems to delight in the sensational rather than the informational, and he has consistently resisted every chance to sit down and have a discussion. Very brave, I must say. Obsidian gonna go in. My track record as a writer and a blogger for dozens of years, and that of a podcaster and talk radio host for the past 5, more than speak for itself. For the My track record as a writer and blogger for a dozen years, that of a podcaster and a talk radio host for the past 5, should be a comma right there, more than speak for themselves. For anyone who wants to actually take the time to find out, I make no bones about what I say or write, but if my inter interlocutors my interlocutors like Mr. Fontaine truly wants to be fair and balanced, they will be sure to include all of the story, including the nuance. Thus far, uh Mr. Fountain doesn't seem to be willing to do so. As I said to Mr. Fountain in an email last week, without question, the Black Manosphere will have its share of loonies, just like every group does. And just like we don't or shouldn't make snap judgments about an entire group based on most of their outlandish members, we shouldn't do the same to the Black Manosphere either, because whether you like it or not, there is a there. Two quick examples should suffice. The first is from Mr. Fontaine's quoting me above. I did indeed write that. I did indeed write what I did about the verbally and at times emotionally abusive nature and actions of my mom and grandmom towards my dad and granddad. Now, I did that to engender a real conversation about abuse, not a one-sided bromide Latin with two agendas. It's abuse. Is abuse in all forms. Simply matter one. God damn it. Simply matter one. Black women are its victims. Can we be big enough and evolved enough to admit that black women can be abusers too? When are we going to admit that the fact that the whole when that we are going to admit that the fact that while domestic violence exists in black America, it's a two-way or it's two-way, it is two-way or bi-directional, as Dr. Tommy Curry notes in his excellent book The Man Not? Or are we going to continue to sweep this ugly fact of black American life under the rug? What about the extraordinarily high incidence of black lesbian domestic violence, higher than that of obtaining with straight and black couples? More silence. And the second example, the current SYSBM issue, Fountain won't read it, but 12 years ago, an excellent book came out called Don't Blame It on Rio. The real deal behind why men go to Brazil for sex. Everything in that book, coming from the scores of black men interviewed about American black men, is being said now in the black manosphere, which I take to have come into existence in circa 2015. That is a full 7 years before the fact. Can 1,000 brothers be wrong? It's a real shame that Fountain, an aspiring academic such as Slipshod, approach to this topic as a historian to be, his work could prove instrumental to understanding black men at a very interesting time in American history itself. Instead, instead, we get little more than muckragging yellow journalism of an old academic of an academic damn, my speech falling apart. An academic passing his personal access to grind off as research and grinding sense that of a heck of a lot of heat than that a heck of a lot of heat than light is what Fountain brings to the table. Sad. I don't know if these niggas are speaking into text to speech or speech to text, but goddamn. But Obsidian, you got it though. I'm on your side, bro. And I want to up that, but I don't think I can. So yeah. Um wow, really? And he had to make a damn profile here. But anyway, I got to get ready for my show. But I'm more than willing to answer any questions here. Thanks. Miuma, Obsidian Ali, Obsidian Radio. Oh, let's see the response. How uncanny that these highly touted intellectuals only view the black manosphere from a skewed, one-sided talking point. Thank you, bro. Keep up the good work. Yeah, you know, manosphere always gonna represent. And you got 74 likes, so you probably don't need my 75th. But anyway, y'all, my bad for my crappy ass reading and shit like that. So yeah. So there you have it. Um a lot of hit pieces have been written on the manosphere. A lot of guys are jumping into the manosphere right now as of 2020. And we're in a weird space. Like we're in a weird fucking space. Like Manosphere 3.0 is moving in. A lot of the new guys are conflating it. So a lot of what's going on in the Manosphere nowadays is just gonna come off as, oh, these niggas are arguing with each other. They don't know what's going on. Go listen to some of my shows that I talk about. The Manosphere is in disarray. Anyway, it's DJ Kuda, and I spent 50 minutes with y'all, and I done fucking showed y'all that I'm illiterate. Hopefully y'all got some game from this podcast. And look, man, we're about to go live and stream. So I see you on the other side, man. It's Player Talk TV. Let's get it. Let's go. Let's go.
Girl, thank you, girl. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
And thank you for everybody that's commenting on my on my last video. I apologize. I was tired than a motherfucker. All right, let's get it. Let's go. It's Player Talk Radio.